was sure of me. No one wanted to put their bets on me. No one wanted to give me their praise. No one wanted to say, I still see you. And if so, it was very few people. And so because everyone was so unsure of me, I had two decisions. I could either become unsure as well, or I could become very sure of self. And so in the beginning, I was following their lead. They were unsure of me, so I was unsure of me. They were unsure of my next steps, so I was unsure of my next steps. They were unsure of my potential, so I was unsure of my potential. And then, I had a very enlightening experience and made the decision to become sure of self. And so I became, I started putting my bets on me. And so even when everyone else was betting against me, I refused to follow that trend, and I just continued to bet on myself. I continued to bet on myself. And as I continued to bet on myself, I drowned out the noise of everyone that was unsure. And then, 2, 3, 4, 5 months into being sure of myself, into beginning to bet on myself, into practicing betting on myself, I've transformed myself, and now everyone else wants to come around and be like, I'm not quite convinced, but maybe I'll change my bets back to being on her. But now the difference is I don't need them. I don't need them. I don't need anyone to be sure of me, to be sure of self. I don't need anyone to validate me, to know that I'm good, to know that I'm okay, to know that even when it looks like I'm losing, I'm preparing for a win. And so a lot of times, everyone wants you to pop out just being LeBron, just everyone wants you to pop out just getting buckets, right? But if you allow people to see you when you were beginning or when you were training, and then especially if you weren't doing good in practice, this is a prime example. So especially if you weren't doing good in public practice, so you're at practice and you're not performing well, and so everyone assumes that when you get on that court, you're going to do the same thing, right? But because of how negative the energy was around your public practice, you began to practice on your own. You begin to practice and train yourself because you didn't really want all of those other energies, all of those other eyes on you to determine your progression. And so what happened was I really kind of went into hiding. Yes, I was on social media, but I became very private about my life because there were things that I needed to make happen in private. There were issues that I needed to handle in private. There were insecurities that I needed to handle in private. There were so many things that I needed to handle, and so I kind of went into hiding, and I really began to do the work. I really began to face some of my own demons. I really began to interrogate myself at another level. I really began to be honest with self. And so and so it took a while for the practice that I was doing in hiding to begin to show publicly. And now that it shows publicly, I really don't care because I began to be valid. I knew where I was going even when I wasn't here. So it really didn't matter. It began to not matter when or if I would get there, because even when I was in that other stage where everyone was doubting me, where everyone was unsure of me, where everyone was hating or whatever, talking or whatever, even when I was in that stage, I practiced drowning out the noise so much that it didn't matter. And so even in that stage, I was valid to myself. Even in